Okay guys, so the next question is max rectangle. Okay, over here obviously I would highly recommend you guys to complete these two questions over here. We are doing this in order, right? So this is where you learn the main logic. After that, using this logic of this question, we solved histogram max rectangular area. Now this entire thing will be required in order to solve this question max rectangle, right? So over here, what is the problem statement? The problem statement is that this time we are given with a binary matrix. It contains only zeros and ones, right? And we have to find out what is the maximum rectangle that is formed using the ones, and we have to return that. For example, if we just think about it, this will be a max, right? This is a rectangle with area 2, right? After that, so this is an enclosement with two ones, right? Which is rectangle as well. After that, there can be something like this over here, right? Or this over here, okay? Or there can be something like this over here, right? Or suppose this over here. Among all these things, like we need to find out all the rectangles that are possible, and among that we need to return the maximum out of them, okay? Which will be 8 in this case, which is this over here. You can see this is the maximum rectangle area. So the output of this question is basically 8, right? So over here, as soon as we get this question, guys, you should always think about the questions that you have solved before, which is kind of related. And histogram max rectangular area is something like that. There was only 1D arrays of different buildings where they're of different heights, and you need to find out which is the maximum area, rectangular area that is possible, right? But over here, guys, there are 2D arrays, right? So somehow you have to think about how you can convert this 2D array to a 1D array, so that whatever was our learning from these questions, we can apply that over here, right? We will divide this 2D array into multiple 1D arrays, and we will try to build something like this. I hope after I said this, maybe you will understand that for this first row over here, I can imagine that there is a building of height 0, then a building of height 1, then another 1, and then a 0. So this is our thing. Then we can easily find out. After that, in the next step, there is a building of 1. Okay, I'm taking this and then taking this, then this, and then this. So it is like this, 1, 2, 2, 1. So here also we can find the maximum rectangular area, either this or this, whatever it is, right? So after that, in this level over here, you can also see that how we are converting the array, right? 2, then 3, then another 3, then a 2, right? Then again we can find this, what is the max area for this particular thing, right? Whichever it is. After that, when we come to the last level, converting this is a little tough, guys. Why? Because there are zeros over here. So if I convert this directly, it will be something like this, 3 over here, 4 over here, and then a 3 over here, but this building is in the air. There is no ground over here and the building is in the air, but that is not possible. That is not possible. So whenever there is a 0, I should consider the whole height of the building as 0. So it will be 3 and then a 4 and 2 zeros. Basically, when for these buildings over here, it would already be considered, if this come in the answer, then it would already have been considered in the previous step, right? So whenever we land up with a 0 anywhere in the middle, that should be completely 0, isn't it? And if we have all these single dimensions arrays, for example, the first one that we have was this, right, which is basically 0, 1, 1, 0. After that we had 1, 2, 2, 1. After that we had 2, 3, 3, 2. After that we had 3, 4, 0, 0. So if these were the single dimension arrays that are given to us, right, and I'll just draw them. So in these cases over here, guys, if we passed this particular input to our histogram max rectangular area, then it would have been given me the correct result. For example, over here it would be this particular thing over here, which is of 2. The max over here is 2. The max over here should be this 2 cross 2 thing over here, which is 4. Over here the max will be of course 8. Over here the max will be 3 cross 2, which is 6. So I hope this thing is clear, guys, that among this max, if I just send all this array to this function over here, which we computed for histogram max rectangular area, I will show you. This was the code that we wrote, exactly the same code that we wrote in the question. Over here, this function was only accepting an array and it was returning us what is the maximum rectangular area possible. But Over here we couldn't directly use it because there was 2-dimension array that was given to us. But like I asked you to visualize, take this tower as a whole, this is a single 1D array, and that can be passed directly to this function over here, and it will give you the maximum. Similarly, you just add things up, and while adding you should just remember that if there are zeros, then the building cannot float in here. I should initialize that particular array with zeros, right? Wherever there will be 0, I will be assigning it with 0, otherwise I will just add it up with the previous, right? Simple logic, right? I hope this is clear. After spending so much time, this is the amount of time that you take for solving a or for understanding completely a lead code hard question, or similar questions are available in lead code as well, right? This is GFG hard, but in similar lead code also hard is only the problem statement only, right? So what I'm saying is writing code will be cakewalk, right? I would highly recommend you to do the same. First of all, what I'm saying is I will just copy this entire function over here, because I'll not write this function, right? Because I'm just copying this entire function over here. Okay. Now what I'm saying is that I'll calculate the lengths, mat dot length. This is the row numbers that we are getting, and also we need to take the column numbers. For that I need to take the length of any particular row, right? That will give me the columns. After that, what do? We create a, for example, this 1D array, a sample and 1D array. Suppose a single dimension array. I'm calling this single. Okay, which will have the same size as the column numbers m, right? Because this is the array, not, it should not be the size of the row, it should be the size of the columns, right? Because one single column will represent one array, which we will send to this function over here, get max area. So we are making the same array size as this column size. After that, I will iterate through this whole 2-dimensional array. Int I equals to 0, I less than n, I plus plus, and inside for int j equals to 0, j less than m, j plus plus, right? And over here in the first iteration, what, see, in Java by default in this particular array all the values are 0, so I can just add these values up, and my single array will be equal to the first row. Already if there are zeros, and if we add the first column to our single array, everything will be like, it will be the exact same as the first column over here. So I do that. So single of I, j, single of j must be added with what? It should be added with the current element, that is matrix of ij. So I will add this up, correct? But I will not add every time, right? We will add if there is not a 0. So I will check this. So if my matrix of ij is not equals to 0, then only I will add things up. Okay, this particular line. Otherwise, I will keep it as a 0 only. Otherwise, single of j will remain as 0. As simple as that. After that, what do? Once I make this array, after this particular inner loop runs, my entire single array will be assigned with this, and in the next iteration it will all be added, and the summation matrix, which is this particular thing, will be formed, and in the next iteration this will be formed. We are simply adding things up, right? And after adding over here, once we get the matrix over here, after the end of this whole loop over here, we will get the matrix. Then we need to send that single dimension array to this function over here. So, and I will also save the result that it will return me, which is the max area. So I will save that, and I will call this get max area on this particular array single, right? After that, I should have a max variable that would keep a track of whatever is the max of all the iterations, x comma max, right? So let me take this variable as well, int max equals to, I'll assign it to 0. After that, at the end of this, I should just return max. As simple as that. Cool, guys. So it has matched, output has matched. Right? Pretty simple. Thank you.